let's talk about the Supplemental Offer and Acceptance Program. I'm Dr. Nina Loom, and I'm an IMG and a coach for physicians who are from foreign medical schools or international medical graduates seeking residency in the United States. So the SOAP is the Supplemental Offer and Acceptance Program, and I'm just gonna go, I'm looking at my notes down here, we'll just go right into it. It runs during match week and it's after the initial results. So for those who do not obtain positions in the primary match, they will become eligible to find positions through. So unfilled residency positions are offered in rounds, meaning it's not interview as usual, it's a round of released interviews. So you have, they're about usually 3 or 4 rounds, and I'm gonna pull up the calendar here so I can direct. Programs will review the applications usually fast in a time-limited fashion and respond almost immediately. That is exactly why you need to be ready for the SOAP even before it starts. So if you're already in the cycle, just have a mental checklist for yourself in the event where you have to SOAP that you are ready. And in preparing for the SOAP, I think that there's very little you have to do. You will use your application from the primary session, meaning you have to have already applied in the primary session to be eligible. So you'll have to use the application from the cycle. Now, the only thing that you may want to change or have opportunity to change may be a personal statement and review. So if you had feedback or received feedback in this season that your personal statement was lacking in certain areas, you may work on that before the SOAP so that you're ready to use the new updated personal statement for the purpose of. So we're gonna go into first, why does the SOAP exist? So the SOAP was created to reduce chaos after the match. It prevents any side deals or back channeling contracting. The goal is to ensure a fair process for the unmatched applicants. It also protects both the programs and the applicants. But you have to follow the rules. So if you end up having the SOAP, remember that it doesn't make you a weak applicant if you get a position through the SOAP. I always tell people the first reason we don't match really doesn't have to do with our credentials. It has to do with the fact that there are a limited number of positions. That's the honest. Because the fact that you get an interview to residency already tells me, and should tell you as well, that you are qualified for the only difference is there's specialty competitiveness, there are visa limitations, the interview distribution doesn't always get to reach every applicant, and so those things can negatively impact who eventually gets a position in the final match without necessarily having anything to do with your credibility or potential as an applicant. So who is eligible for the SOAP? Typically you're SOAP eligible if you are registered for the match already, if you are on match or partially matched. So you match into a prelim and you still need an advanced position, or you match into an advanced position and you still need a preliminary. If you are eligible to start residency on July 1st, and if you did not already withdraw from, that is how you keep your eligibility for the SOAP. If you're not in any of these criteria, you can't just like walk into the SOAP and then get a position. Now, let's look at some IMG performance in the SOAP in the past years. So one reference quoted about 30 to 40% of SOAP positions were filled by IMGs, and it varies each year according to specialty. So that's a low percentage, but you know, something to keep in the back of our heads. Visa requiring IMGs obviously have greater odds, but it's not entirely zero. So if you're a visa requiring IMG, doesn't mean you don't SOAP. It just means you should come in with the idea that you're going to use up all 45 positions or slots that are available. Certain rules that you must follow in the SOAP: you cannot contact programs outside of ERAS for the purpose of the SOAP. You cannot ask for offers directly, and you cannot accept multiple offers, and you cannot renegotiate the terms of your contract. Typically, it's what you should get kind of deal. All the communication for interview typically is program initiated. So it comes from the program to you. It's time bound, and it's typically logged. Programs can call you or email you to interview right now, so I always recommend that you are ready. On a more social side of things, I always recommend that if you know you have to SOAP, reach out to a community of friends, which I think it's important that you build that community of friends before. So what I would do is I would reach out to 5 or 6 friends right now and say, hey, I'm going to go through a really grueling week in March. It's going to be March, what's the match week again? March 16th is when March 16th is when the match week starts this year. So call your friends and say, for the week of March 16th, I'm going to need a lot of emotional support, especially if I do not match. And so what that could look like is from March 16th to 22nd, I may be calling you. And the people I'll include in that group will be other IMGs that I've gone through the cycle with, people that are ahead of me, so they're physicians or residents. And I'll include one English major. And I say an English major because someone who has a good diction, like someone that's great at the English language, because they can help you edit any kind of last minute personal statements, responses to emails and things like that. So get one of those kind of people in your arsenal. Get someone who can cook because that person can be responsible for just providing you meals, because you'll be glued to a computer or a phone for many, many hours. So one of them that can help you with meals. If you have children, try to get childcare so that you, maybe a grandma, aunt, someone that can watch your kids while you're really struggling through the computer system, trying to figure out the match and all that. And then if you have the opportunity to schedule your own rotations or your experiences, try to give yourself a lighter week. So talk to your preceptors ahead of time. Maybe I may be out for this week, or I may only have to do half days or something like that, just so that you can make room if you need to, so that you have time for the computer. Okay, so those are just some social things that I think you should include in your planning for the SOAP. Now, if you violate any of the SOAP rules, it can cause you to be removed entirely from the process. It can trigger match violations, and it can follow you into future cycles. So please stick with the rules. And if you want to know what the rules are, just type in SOAP in NRMP, both together in Google, and it'll pull up this document that I'm looking at, which is the policies for the supplemental offer and acceptance programs, and it has policy highlights and pitfalls for applicants. I'll include that as well in the show notes so that you can get it direct to them. So it looks like for this year, March 16th is a Monday, and so once you find out you don't match, at 11 a.m. that Monday morning, you can start preparing your SOAP application. It says contact the application service designated by the program with any question. And then March 17th, which is a Tuesday, programs will begin reviewing the SOAP applications, and then programs may contact the applicant upon receipt of an application and begin and then, so that's Tuesday, March 17th. Now, Thursday, March 19th is when the SOAP round 1 offers go out at 9 a.m. that morning, meaning after interviews have happened between Tuesday and Wednesday and even into Thursday morning, offers will start going out 9 a.m. on Thursday morning. And then you have 2 hours to accept or reject the SOAP offers from round 1. And if you say rejected, then they'll open it to somebody else. So that's why I think you'll be glued to your computers or your phone, and you have to be ready to respond. And then, so 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. first round goes out. From 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. round 2 will go out of offers. And then round 3 will go out 3 to 5 p.m. So round 4 will go out 6 to 8 p.m. So there's 4 rounds of offers that day. So Thursday will be crucial, right? It may be a high anxiety day, which you probably want to get help again with, your nutrition, your water, someone watching your children if you have to do that, taking off work even if you're working in a secondary role while waiting on residency. And then the SOAP would end 9 p.m. That Thursday. And then March 20th would be match day, where we all find out where we're going for residence. So best practices before match week, what I think you need to be working on right now is get your personal statements ready. Make sure all your LORs and stuff are all uploaded and polished. And when the list comes out, maximize your options by taking the full number. Historically, it's been 45 programs that you're eligible to apply into, no more. But some of us would apply into less. I don't know why. I would maximize all 45 unless there's just not enough positions to apply for. I still think you need strategy and less emotion, but it's hard to say that because you're going to be a ball of emotion. So it's okay to use emotion. Okay, it's perfectly fine. Respond fast. If you get an offer, an interview, respond fast. So you want to have your notifications turned on your phone. I hate phone notifications, but this may be the one time where you have your phone notifications turned on. Say yes only when you mean it, okay? Don't say yes when you don't mean it, and then regret it later. I've seen people say yes because they're desperate and emotional, and they've had time to think about it, and like, I don't want to go there for residency. So be sure that you have checked within yourself, this is where you want to end up. Remember, it's not about like perfection. It's really about like still finding a fit for where you think like you'll do well, where you'll excel in your career. and where you'll have an opportunity to pass your boards and also help that community grow their program as well. So I think that panic is likely to occur, and I think it's expected and it's normal. You'll be waiting for phone calls that never come, or maybe only a few come, or one or two. But I think that it's important to be able to center yourself and ground yourself. If you are a spiritual person, a Christian person, this may be a good time to start, again, notify your pastor, your advisor, if you have a counselor, that, hey, this is going to be a rough week for me. Or maybe it's your mother or your father or your close friend. It's going to be a rough week for me. I'm going to be leaning on to you for some encouragement, some support. I am the kind of person who takes control, and I may even write out some scripture that I want to remember for myself, or some positive affirmations that I want to remember for myself in the event where I have to soap. And I would record it like this on a video so I can just hit play on that day, because I may not have any bandwidth in me to fight, right? And so it may be good to have something in place. It may be a journal entry that you read out loud to yourself. It may be a video recording that you do in private just for yourself on your cell phone. And some encouraging words if you have to soap, just to keep you alive, okay? So I think ultimately soap success is built months earlier, not really on match week, because it also speaks to your application. If your application is well positioned, you will receive soap interviews. And you still have to be thinking about who you signaled in the primary cycle. You know, question your decisions as to like why you chose those programs in the first cycle, maybe. Even look at, you know, your specialty position. Like, did I pick the right specialty? Did I have what it's necessary for that specialty? Should I be pivoting in the soap or should I not? Those are all questions that we have to answer. Remember also that they're going to review your application as a whole, your personal statement, and your LORs. So right now you can still upload an LOR to the portal if you haven't already, or if you had less competitive LORs, whatever that means for you, or if you didn't have, you know, people that were really in your corner when it came time to apply earlier in the cycle, and now you do. So you can still add some LORs in your portal right now that you can use for the soap later on. And I always tell my IMG roadmappers, people that I coach within the IMG roadmap, that when you're going through your clinicals and you find a preceptor that you really enjoyed working with and you know will support you in residency, you should ask them for an LOR and just store it on the portal there, because you just never know when you're going to use it. So I think that you should definitely consider that as well, is things that you can upgrade or update your personal statement and your LORs. You can do those now. Remember, the soap is not the end of your story. And I have a great story actually on my podcast. I'm going to try to search it right now. I'm going to drninaloom.com and I'm going to put in soap in the search field, and we'll attach that on here, how to do that. It's IMG Roadmap Series number 69 with Dr. Emmanuel Moraquino. He's an internal medicine physician right now, but he went through the soap. And he talks about how he planned for it, because he was already in the cycle and did not really get interviews. So he already knew he was going to just go through soap. So his was a strategic soap planning process, so to speak. So he describes that in this podcast episode. And if you go to the IMG Roadmap on Spotify or Google or Apple Podcasts, let me find that episode number for you so it makes it easier for you to search. It is episode number 54. It's number 54, Dr. Emmanuel Moraquino, and we'll have that attached here and also in the show notes. But yeah, I think he's a great resource, and his episode is a great interview for anyone who will have to plan for the soap. You can use his perspective. He talks about having a solid support system, staying away from irrelevant online forums. He wants you to exhaust the number of applications if the soap allows you to. He wants you to upgrade and tailor your personalized statements. And even if you have the slightest inkling that you may be going through the soap, he recommends that you start preparing now. So I wish you guys the very best, and I hope you never have to soap. But if you do, this video will be helpful for you, and send it to someone else who hopes they don't have to soap but just want to be prepared just in case. And I'm Dr. Loom, here for you at the IMG Roadmap.